Okay, in this video, I'm going to show you how to assemble the boxer block. And here you can see he's all finished. This is actually the introduction to two different videos. One is going to show you how to do it with a light box, and the other is going to show you how to do it if you don't have a light box. The boxer, these are the videos where I go into lots of detail and talk you through all of the steps. I talk you through maybe you want to do bits at a time and the overlap and all of those details and explain all of that. I only do that for the boxer block because he's pretty representative of all of the blocks in the pattern. Some are less complicated and there's a couple, I don't think there's any that are more complicated. So this is kind of giving you the most complicated blocks. It allows me to talk about all of the things you might possibly have to deal with any of the blocks in the More Playful Puppies pattern. So this is the one that talks you through all of the steps. But for all of the other blocks that are included in the pattern, all of the other dog breeds that are included in the pattern, there is a shorter video that just shows me layering the pieces so you can see what order they lay in and what tucks under what. If you have any questions, you can click on the links for those short videos and get a no words explanation, just me showing how the pieces all layer together. So here's how you put them together. Okay. Now I'm going to show you how to put the block together using a light box. So all of my pattern pieces do have some lines marked on them. Just ignore those. I used these same pieces to demonstrate how to put it together without a light box. But if you're doing a light box, you don't need those lines, so you can ignore all of those bits. So I've got this all set up. I've got my light box on. I've got my pattern piece or my placement guide laid down. And then I've got a silicone mat over top of that. Now I'm going to start layering the pieces in place, and I'm just going to follow the numbers on the pattern and do it in that order. So one thing I should have mentioned first, one of the reasons that I picked the boxer is because he's got, first of all, he has a lot of overlap in places. So the muzzle is going to overlap his shoulders by quite a bit. He's got this deep, droopy kind of muzzle, and he's also got a chest piece that overlaps it. So I'm not going to cut those pieces away. I'm going to layer them all in here, and I did it like this without cutting that excess away because I want you to be able to use these pieces for other dogs. And for other dogs, the muzzle may not overlap quite so much, or on a different dog, instead of his chest, the patch of lighter color on his chest, instead of coming up to a point, on some dogs, it's a rounded kind of a patch. So I've designed these pieces to be really versatile to work for a lot of different dogs so that you can make dogs that aren't even in the pattern. But that meant not trimming away every bit of excess. So if you want to trim away that excess, you can do that. Just make sure you leave about 1/4 of an inch to the side of any of these dotted lines so that your pieces will tuck neatly underneath others. So you could cut this away along 1/4 of an inch above here, and then your muzzle would still have enough to overlap and get a nice clean finish, but you won't have quite as many thick layers of fabric on top of fabric on top of fabric. So that's one reason that I chose the boxer, because he has a lot of these overlapping parts. But another reason that I chose him is because we are making him out of fairly dark fabrics. A lot of boxers tend to be a pretty dark dog. And I wanted to show you that once you layer in the shoulders and the muzzle, or the shoulders, and then the head's going to go underneath there, and you're going to have a chin in there, and then you're going to have a muzzle on top of that, and then you need to be able to see through to see where the nose goes. It can get hard for the light to shine through that many layers, particularly on a darker fabric. So I wanted to show you on this guy that we can do a little bit of that fusing on the early side. So you will need to think about this a little bit if you do it, because it's not going to be just following the numbers. But you could, for example, lay the muzzle down, and then the nose, use your guide and lay the nose on top of that, then fuse those pieces, and then you've got that piece as one piece that you can take away. You can lay an ear down. There that goes. And then lay the top part of the ear on top of that, and then fuse those two pieces together, and then you've got that kind of functioning as one piece. So I'm not going to do that with you on this block, but you will see it in some of the other blocks in the videos where I'm not talking you through it. You might see me layer some pieces down, take it away, come back with those pieces fused, particularly for the black on black on black dogs like the Newfoundland and the Portuguese water dog. But we're not going to do that on this one, but it was a good one to kind of show you how that would work. So now let's jump in to actually peeling the paper backings off and sticking some of these pieces in place. So we're going to start with this floppy ear back here. So we're going to lay down piece number 1, and it just takes a little bit of turning until it'll fit. You can see a little bit of it, the line, the edge outline of it over here. And then number 2 is on this side. You can see just, there we go. Nope. There it is. So sometimes it does take a minute to find those spots. Now we're going to do piece number 3, which is the shoulders. And then number 4 is the chest. All right, number 5 is his head. Okay, number 6 is that chin. I bumped this. Now that chin might be a little bit hard for you to see on the video, but I can just see it through here. And you can, if I pick this up, maybe you can see it. There's the bottom half of the chin, so it's pretty low down in here. All right, number 7 is going to be the flopped over part of this ear. And number 8 is the flopped over part of this ear. Okay, and number 9, let's see, 9 is on that side. We've got this eye. And number 10 is the, not the eye, but the eye patch on this side. And then 11 and 12 are the eyes. You can just see that it's just on the outside of that chalk line there. But again, you could do those are pieces that you could do separately. If you were having trouble seeing through the fabrics, take away the bottoms and just do the eyes and the eye patch there. So then 13 is his muzzle. And then 14, the very last piece, is his nose. All right, now I'm going to carefully lift the silicone sheet up, take it to my ironing board, and then fuse it, and you fuse it right on top of the silicone sheet. It totally feels like you're gonna melt some plastic with your iron, but the silicone doesn't melt. Let it cool on the mat for a couple of minutes and then peel it off very carefully. And then you can place it on your block wherever you want it and get that fused into place. All right, here's the boxer. He's all finished. I've fused everything down. I've done the outline stitching all around the pieces. I also added some catch lights to his eyes to really bring them to life. That's not included in the video, but there is a separate tutorial that explains 3 different ways to add catch lights to any applique eyes, and there's a link to that tutorial in the pattern. Again, just a quick reminder that for this boxer, I go through all of the details and really talk you through all of the steps. The process now is the same for all of the other dogs. So now you've got that basic knowledge you need for any of the other dog breeds that are included in the pattern. But if you have any questions or want to see me putting those blocks together for each of those different dogs, there is a no words video that just shows me layering them together. Those are on the light box, but the process of what's tucking underneath what is the same for whether you use a light box or whether you don't. And again, just a reminder, this pattern includes a whole bunch of dogs. It includes 14 regular dogs and then a bunch of extras that you can make using the pieces in these 14 dogs, and there are placement guides for those extras. But you can take all of these pieces and mix and match them to create breeds that I did not include in this pattern. And between the More Playful Puppies pattern, which is what we have here, and the first Playful Puppies pattern, between those 2 patterns, you have pieces and placement guides and videos for all of the 50 most popular dogs in the United States. And then with those pieces, you can make all but the weirdest looking dogs. So if there's a dog that you are trying to recreate that I didn't include that breed, or maybe he's a mixed breed dog and he doesn't match any of these guys exactly, you can pull. There are floppy ears, there are stand-up ears, there are droopy muzzles, there are tighter muzzles, there are narrow heads and wide heads, and you can mix and match all of those pieces to create almost any dog out there. So have fun with it.